We're here with Scott Bannister. We're out here at the refuge, and Scott's got a pretty interesting story. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, last night when I was coming through town, I stopped at Safeway to pick up some more food and that. We asked the young lady that was cashing us out, the cashier there, how things were around town here, and she says, "And what do you mean?" And we says, "Well, all that's been going on here in your town for the last 2 weeks. Just was wondering how you felt." She goes, "I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. We've been instructed not to speak to anybody about what's going on." I don't know if that's the government instructing them, or if the employer. People of Burns should be living in fear that way they're living. It's not right.
Is that the first incident that you've heard about that?
That was my personal first.
Have you heard of other
I've
incidents?
heard of it, but that was my first. Me personally.
So the people in Burns, you feel are very afraid because of the authorities?
I think they're afraid and they're intimidated. They're scared for what's the repercussions of speaking out with the truth.
In the meantime, I'm going to walk over here and get a few shots of the refuge for you. Is this slow enough or not? Okay. Well, I can't see them right now. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was doing this right. I'm going to do this so that it kind of blocks the audio a little bit from the wind. Okay. Scott, tell us all about your trip into town.
Well, I came into town yesterday and observed quite a bit of police presence. I spoke with a out of county sheriff deputy, which was a very pleasant man. But then we went to Safeway and got some groceries. And was checking out. And spoke to the cashier and asked her how she was doing and how things have been around town here. And she says, "What do you mean by that?" And we asked her, "Well, with everything that's going on at the refuge, how do you feel or whatever?" And she goes, "I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. We've been instructed not to speak to nobody about what's going on here in town." And that's just, people shouldn't have to live in fear like that.
Do you believe that came down from the federal authorities or local, or what do you think?
For everything I've been watching and seeing, it's looking like it's the government
Federal.
and maybe some of the local government that are looking kind of shady. You can't tell your people you can't speak your rights, your feelings. We all have our First Amendment, and that's what this is all about, our freedom. And they're going to continue to take this land away. They've already taken it from, what, 100 ranchers around here? And they don't plan on never giving it back, but this is what this is all about, is making America strong again. And we, the people, are in control, not the federal government. We need the federal government, but not doing the things that they're doing, suppressing the people and making us not be able to produce and take care of our own country. We're being suppressed. And it's just unconstitutional.
You had some news about an arrest in town.
I'd rather not talk about that right now because I'm not sure about that.
You're not? Okay. Can I tell them what we think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The word is, and it's not verified, that Pete Santilli was arrested today.
At the airport.
Huh?
At the airport.
At the airport. Which I'll try and verify that in a little bit, but Well, like I say, I'm going to try and verify it, but that was the word that came down.
That's what we got a phone call at the gate from some. Supposedly it was at the front gate of the airport.
Yeah, and they received a phone call about it here. Well, like I say, it's unverified, but that's the word that's come down. I will try and verify that later. Okay, Scott, take us around and introduce us to somebody else. Oh my goodness, we've got.
I really don't know many people.
Well, come on over. You're gonna meet them too. Yeah. They've had quite a bit of print media here today, it looked like.
And also, you can tell.
Can we get you over here on our live stream? Well, we'll come to you. We're happy to do that.
I just don't want people to be sleeping.
I'll trade you jobs.
Oh, well, isn't that nice? Y'all are just so nice and polite and friendly here.
I'm glad you feel that way, because we are nice and polite and friendly.
Well, actually, y'all have been. From Nick at the front gate all the way down, I haven't met anybody who hasn't been.
Yeah, well, just normal folks. That's all we are.
Well, we're live right now on Revolution Radio.
Okay.
Mike is on the other end. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. My name is Melissa.
Melissa, how long have you been here?
Going on 2 weeks just about. I left for a little bit, about 3 days, and then came back, so.
And so you're not local also?
No, I'm not local. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, nice area.
Yes, fun
yeah,
area.
lot of lights. Oh, yeah, well, let's, Would they mind if we went inside and filmed in there? Would that be a problem?
We can do that, or we can move over here where there's a little less noise. So.
Or anything you want.
Oh, let's get a picture of the beautiful outdoors.
Absolutely.
This is,
we would like to go inside at some point because it's warmer in there.
Sure. It's so pretty out here, and this is what people should be able to come out and enjoy, and not being restricted from having access to it. So, you know, there's a lot of wildlife around here that people like to come down and watch and see, and not be told that it's closed. So that's what we're trying to do. Yes, that's correct. I was just shoveling the sidewalks and making sure that people have safe passage into the buildings and across the lands. Yes. Right. Well, if you think about it, you know, when you have a public area, everybody else thinks that everybody else is going to clean it up or be in charge of it. But when you actually have responsibility for it, then you take more interest in maintaining it, you know, and we see that in individual property ownership. You go out and you maintain your own yard and you make sure that it's clean and you sweep the sidewalk. But the minute that an overbearing entity comes in and says, now we have control of it, everybody stops caring because they expect the overbearing entity to take control of it and to keep it clean. And it doesn't happen. Uh-oh, you got some competition. Mm-hmm. Right. No. Right. Well, it's pride of ownership and what you went through to work to obtain, whatever that property is, whether it's a vehicle or a piece of land or a house or whatever. You think back to your high school days. There were kids that were given cars, and then there were kids that had to work and save and scrimp every penny. And the people that worked for their vehicles, they took care of them better, and they had more pride of ownership. Yeah, so when you're given something, you can't really appreciate the full value of what it took to get that thing. So we've all been chipping in here. We take out the trash. We are separating garbage to make sure that we're also ecologically sound in what we're doing. So we've got trash bins that are set up for paper trash and cans and bottles. Sure. Can you hold up my shelf for just a minute? It's creating much. Hey, it goes on even when we're trying to educate people.
Yeah, I turned her around so we would get a better shot so she wasn't in the shadow so much, and then I picked him up a little bit more. I apologize. That's my learning curve here.
That's okay. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
We make mistakes and then we go forward and we do better. So when we know better, we do better.
Well, I know that you've got people in and out, pretty regular, and I don't mean just visitors. I'm talking about the people who, are here. At any given time, can we ask how many people are generally around?
There is no set number because it's a revolving door. People come and go on a daily basis. So there is no standing number. I know everybody's interested in knowing what that number is, but there honestly isn't one.
Well, that's why I asked.
We have 100% free access to this area. Anyone can come in and
so nobody's been turned away.
Nobody's been turned away. And reporters have come and spent the night. We've had townspeople that have come down. 2 nights ago, a rancher brought us a butchered pig, and we had a barbecue. So there is no standing number. There really isn't. Every time I come up daily, and I see different faces every day.
Do you stay?
I'm correct. And that's the key, drawing attention to a problem. And the standing number is going to fluctuate because it's not just those of us here that are physically on the ground. We have support across the nation. Not everyone has the wherewithal to be here or is geographically located that they can come on out, even though they would like to. So again,
and funding is always an issue for most people.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you that the numbers are growing in our favor because, in the West Coast, it's a land issue. But in other areas, it's an IRS tax issue or a levy or eminent domain. So we all have some kind of government thumb over us. It's just making it relatable across the nation. Well, it's like I really like to explain it to people in about 2 sentences. And I say that the federal government has the power and the might, but the people have the authority and the right. That's the dynamic that we're trying to change, is to make sure that the authority is restored to the proper power, which is the people. And now we justice for
They have those issues here in Oregon too.
Yeah, everywhere has these issues because, like here recently, within the last couple of weeks, a gentleman was put in jail for collecting rainwater on his property. An ignorant fallacy that exists out there is people think that the earth is diminishing in its water supply. That's actually not correct. The same amount of water stays within the earth's atmosphere at all times. It takes different forms, but it is still all in the earth's atmosphere. And if anything, we have water added because we have space rocks and debris that come in the form of frozen matter, and then it too joins the earth. So it's the perpetuation of ignorance is astounding. And hopefully we start getting people to start thinking about things for themselves and asking questions. Well, we have enough aliens coming in on the southern border. Let's not worry about the ones in the skies just yet.
Yeah, horns and such. Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has their own version of nirvana.
Yeah.
Mine is being a free country and being a freedom fighter.
Are these personal tools people have brought in?
Yes, these are drugs.
How about part of it?
I can give you part of it. This building that we're at right now, formerly it was a carp station. Apparently, the person that worked in this building, they have signs up called Carpe Carp, so that's seize the carp, a play on Carpe Diem. The carp out here have become an invasive species in the waterways, and they're actually destroying the indigenous populations of fish. So they've had, I guess, a mass carp netting take place out here to try and get rid of the invasive species, but they're very prolific and they breed pretty quickly, so it hasn't been successful. I personally see that there's really no public oversight of the activities that have been taking place out here. Another activity that's taken place out here is inventorying frogs. So we've spent almost $1 million as an American population inventorying frogs.
And how many do we have?
Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly how you catch all the little froggies, other than I'm sure they draw out a grid and they count how many frogs are in a certain part of the grid, and then they extrapolate the numbers and try and figure out how many are here. But the thing is that species come and go all the time. And prior to the creation of these agencies, somehow we're all still here. We didn't count these things 1,000 years ago, and somehow we've all made it. Now, does that mean that we don't need education or we don't need to understand things? Of course not. But let's have college students and, private facilities learn and explore things and understand things. Let's not spend millions and billions of dollars of, the public's money out here giving someone a permanent job of counting frogs. I mean, that's not productive. Unless this frog is curing cancer, I'm not impressed.
Is this something you've learned since you've been here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to do legal research. I have a paralegal degree since 2004. I just graduated with a degree in political science and history. So I don't often fit the narrative that it's all ignorant redneck hicks out here. So I hope that I can bring a little bit of elevated conversation to the table. But back to what you had originally asked, which was a little bit of tour of the grounds. Across from us, there's a little museum. And up here we have different bunkhouses that there used to be a more permanent staff that lived here. According to local accounting, much of the staff doesn't live out here anymore. The dynamics of the facility have kind of changed. If you go further down,
can we go inside any of the buildings today?
Well, we have people in there that are that's now their personal quarters. So I wouldn't walk into them, just like I wouldn't walk into someone's house.
Sure.
So
sure. Maybe we can arrange for some of the buildings to be
Yeah, some of the buildings are
so I can come out
open.
tomorrow and do it any way I want to.
Sure. But over here you see we have Hellboy. He's the mascot. He has his space all staked out. He's pretty calm about the whole thing. And then most of these garages here house, vehicles and equipment. There's a really pretty feather.
There you go. You got the pretty feather.
That's right. You can see some of the wildlife that's out here and the plumage that they drop. But these garages pretty much house a lot of the trucks and the heavy equipment that are out here. Now, some of the equipment has been used for good, and some of it has been used for bad. So sometimes they'll, block people off by putting up a fence or actually moving the landscape and the terrain so people don't have access to it.
Since you told us you've got a bit of a legal background, may I ask you about the arrest yesterday?
You're talking about the one where they drove vehicles in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, everyone is out here of their own free will. We don't have a hierarchy as far as you take orders from me and I take orders from you. Everyone out here is a free person. They come and go as they please, and they do as they please. But that being said, they're accountable for their own actions. We didn't know the vehicles were going off the property. We had already stated that, we need to respect everything going on out here. It is not ours. It belongs to the people of the county and of the area, due to the fact that it's actually on their state property. So a couple of individuals exercised free agency, decided to drive a couple of vehicles into town, and now they're responsible for their actions. So I understand that only one gentleman was actually arrested, and that was because he had something prior outstanding, some kind of a squatting infraction or something. He had been squatting on some land somewhere, had been ticketed for it, but they did release him according to the news report that I met, based on the condition that he not come back out here. So that's as much as I know about that at this point. Again, free agency, everybody's accountable for their own actions.
Do y'all have a legal defense fund for any of these things that happen? Will you be helping him?
Yes, we do have people that have donated for that. We've had people that have offered to donate their time, their expertise, their experience, and their skills. So but right now, I don't see that he needs help. He is free. He's not in jail. Okay. And the previous infraction that he had, that's obviously his responsibility because it had nothing to do with this.
Sure.
So, accountability.
Well, yeah, but this is the first time I've been able to ask you all about this. So.
Ask away.
I feel safer here than I do in town.
Yeah, I am just a plain person. I have absolutely nothing on me that could be construed as being dangerous. My most dangerous weapon is my mouth and my brain.
Well, there was several issues actually brought up before I came out here, and I wanted to get those resolved before I came out here.
Okay, what issues were those?
Some of them I might tell you about after the show's over.
Okay, that's fine.
But no, there were concerns about safety of not just females, but any individuals.
Well, let me tell you, this is the second or third time now that I've heard that females aren't safe out here, and I just have to tell you, I haven't been harassed once, and I'm greatly disappointed by it. I get zero attention out here being a female. I feel like just one of the boys.
Well, it is actually a very comfortable environment out here. Very pretty, very easy to just walk around and say hi. I have not met anybody who has not had a smile on their face. They're all very friendly, very willing to talk to me.
I would just. You can. I could give you highlights of it since I.
Well, we'll start with you. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm trying to block it. Is it helping?
Okay. They desired to see their kids. They were missing their kids. They had given temporary guardianship to their babysitter over their kids. one of their direct relatives was concerned that the kids were possibly going to come here and visit their parents. And he stepped in and put a halt to it by involving officials. And he really, just kind of took it upon himself to make his own decisions about someone else's children. So it'll all be handled.
Let me try and block them.
Right. Well, you understand that there's a couple of different divisions of family court system, the Division of Family Services and Child Protective Services, which they can issue, depending on what state it's in, 24 to 48 hour hold on kids. And in some ways, I personally think that that's good, because if a child really is being abused or, harmed in any way, shape, or form, you want to be able to have a brief period of time in which you can review the facts and circumstances to make sure that, in fact, that is not going on. Unfortunately, situations like this where there was no problem like that, you can also get caught up in the net. So it's definitely a procedure that you want to use judiciously and with great inspection of what the facts are. So I don't know that that's taking place yet, but hopefully the wheels are turning, that they see that the children were being concerned about for no viable reason.
Is Blaine still on site?
He is. He's
I'm not gonna ask you to go dig him out now, but yeah. I would ask you, if you wouldn't mind, talk to him tonight and see if he might be willing to talk to us tomorrow.
Okay, sure.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Again,
like I said, we
agency out here.
Absolutely, but I'm also, like I say, I try to be respectful of y'all, because y'all have been of me, and it's only the right thing to do.
Like I said, the atmosphere out here is more like
now if we walked down there, he'd talk to us, we'd go down there.
I just can't guarantee if he's down there, and it is quite a hike. So that's up to you. I'll hike it with you if you want, but it's clear down at the end of the road.
Let's go back and see if we can get Ryan first, because I think he might be waiting on us.
Okay. Right. Well, I can tell you this. Each of us have definitely had issues with our cell phones, and we can all understand that these powerful agencies certainly have the technology and the capabilities of monitoring our cell phones and shutting them down and blocking them. And we know that, but that's part of what we understand that we're going to have to deal with in trying to get Americans across this nation to start asking questions about the government and the agency that's running so much of our lives. So. Uh-huh. Well, you understand that this is how things operate in a state-ran media situation. So if I were to go to China, the government would be telling me what I could broadcast, what I could say, how I'm supposed to say it. So not only do they have that capability on our end, but they also have the capability to be shutting you down. So know which came from, which are ours, but they're there, and we understand that. As the old saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right. But anything you want to get out, we're going to be able to help you do that.
Well, and that's where, if you think about it, alternative media and social media came about at an opportune time, because it's helping us balance the scales of justice by giving out more information than what the state-ran media wants to get out. So
Absolutely.
We appreciate what you guys try and do, and we understand that you encounter your own difficulties trying to do your jobs. So.
Can we step inside where my hands will thaw out?
We can do that.
Should we give them a heads up, or can I surprise them?
Well, just let them know that you're recording.
Hello, everyone. Just to let you know that we are live streaming with Revolution Radio. So y'all can wave. Mike is on the other end. Yeah. Oh, Nighthawk. I'm sorry. Do y'all know Nighthawk?
Barbecue and sacred cows.
We're discussing ways to enlighten people, how to bring attention to this in a very positive way.
Well, this is a good start right here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Educating people on their rights and helping them to stand up and hold them. We have to hold our rights. Whether it's civil rights or just the right to life and freedom.
Hey, I've got to tell you, when I was driving into Burns, yes, the big sign right outside of town,
yes,
I love that. That was kind of indicative of this side of the state, isn't it?
We are very artistic. We have a lot of very good crafters here.
Well, I'm talking about the pro-life message.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I know halfway down here, I saw a big sign that said Benghazi. No, not here in town, but when I was coming down.
Oh, I see.
And that was awesome too. I really liked that one. That was, hand done obviously, but it was huge. The sentiment was there, So.
No, I do know our community believes in pro-life. They do. I mean, we've had a lot of fights back and forth about that with some community members, but the reality is that we should have the right to life, to live without fear.
Are you a local here? That's good.
We own 160 here, and we live in Sandy, so we're here all the time.
Well, that's good though, because we've had a lot of discussion on the locals here.
Yeah.
How a lot of the locals are afraid.
They're oppressed. They're completely and utterly oppressed by our local government. They're harassed. And they're made to feel as though there's no way out. Why fight? We're not going to win. We need to let them understand that we're unified. We're here to help them with that. Every person is important in this world.
You need to hear
the Hammonds are being persecuted. And for what? For land that's theirs by right? For incidents that happen? And it's sad. It's sad to see good people behind bars for politics. For somebody that wants to be right. Being right is not always the way to go.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion in town about how they're afraid. They're afraid of the government taking everything they own,
yes,
and turning this town into a ghost town. But they're also afraid of we're not.
We're afraid of the people.
Yeah,
They
pretty
can't
much.
speak an English language and
Read our signs and are able to pass a driver's license test
and yet
in
they have
41
the
different
ability to pay
languages.
for the ability to pay their dollars.
Sure.
Something
Okay,
we
we're
don't
back.
ourselves have.
I don't have
I've been fighting for 3.5 years
no health
to have my
insurance.
spine reconstructed.
the only health insurance I get is what I pay for by virtue of going to college. I get a small.
Went up to the gate.
But I had
Went around,
to
came all the way back around.
I had to have my back completely reconstructed. I blew a disc about 2 years ago. L4 decided to roll. It's no fun.
I'm going to step over here and introduce these guys
Yes.
too. This has been great. I'm going to get you back on here
So
later.
yeah.
Hey guys, can I get you to say hi to Nighthawk and the world out there?
Hello, Nighthawk. How are you today?
Mike? Okay.
We're just saying hi, Nighthawk. Okay, well, we appreciate it. Let people know that we're not the big scary boogeyman. And that the people in the community need to come out and find out for themselves. Come out. We're not going to barbecue them.
Might serve them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're using that as part of their tactics. So, yeah, it'd be tough if you worked out here and I can see why they would, they want to go back to work, obviously. So they're not going to side with us. And then if they got their employer threatening them that if they do talk to us, yeah, I can see that. But in general, I think the people in town, we're getting a lot of information that the feds are doing a really good job to stir up a lot of false, intimidation. But we're also getting a lot of people from town that are coming here saying, yeah, that is true on some levels, but people are still coming out to find out for themselves. So, then people are going back into town, talking to their neighbors, talking to their friends and family. So it's working. There's good and evil working against one another. So I don't know. Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, I agree. I know that the 3%ers, they've been they have quite a presence in town, but they're not wanting to scare anybody. In fact, they're talking to people, letting them know who they are, what they're all about. They're actually pulling some of the police personnel over, giving them, they carry coffee around, talking to them, letting them know that they're not the big boogeyman. So they're doing their thing on the outside. I think that's good. I think people need to see that they're there, and then to learn and understand why they're there. They're not staying to themselves. They're talking to people. I don't know. I think that's all. I think that's good. I think the rules. Yeah, I agree. I We appreciate that. We appreciate it, and I understand. There's always going to be those that don't represent the cause. There a lot of times there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes there is. Sometimes you can put your foot down, and um, we've tried to portray to those supporting us a message that hopefully they can become acquainted with and to help the cause. Everyone comes with their own issues, say, against the government for one reason or another. We're hoping that we can keep focused on what we're trying to get out there. But everyone has a right to speech. Everyone has a right to protest. But you're right. There are those that may not share our same interest, but that's going to happen in any protest, if you will. But yeah, I don't know what to do about all the little quirks and negatives out there, but we're just going to keep continuing to stay positive and try to educate people more than anything. Try to educate people in a positive manner. So it's long term. This thing isn't going to be over overnight. And
How long do you expect?
I don't know.
Well, the reason I ask is some people were putting out the word that y'all were planning on being out of here in 2 or 3 days.
No, we knew that this wasn't going to be a quick deal.
Right. Well, no, that just came out a day or two ago. That you thought that there would be a resolution here real quick.
Well, I mean, you always hope for a resolution. Yeah. We would hope that the elected officials here in this area, this county, the state, will recognize that there's a problem. I mean, their economy is flat on their face. The only one who seems to be working around here are the ranchers that are holding on, and the federal employees. The timber industry's flatlined. Their economy's flatlined because the feds have imposed such stringent restrictions on land use and use of minerals and grazing and everything else that it's pushing everybody out. And so they've got to look and ask themselves, is this what we want? I mean, we elect officials to represent us. I would hope that my elected officials in my home state understand that their job is to ensure that the economy is healthy and that my life is protected, my liberties are protected, and my pursuit of happiness is protected. My pursuit of happiness is being able to provide a living for my family and to raise my family and to have security and to have all these things. But when you see the feds coming in and putting a stop to that productivity through restrictions, through what they call laws that they claim are needful in protecting the animals, it's not helping the economy. We can protect the wildlife, we can protect the environment, all the while being productive. While as we utilize grass and utilize water resources and minerals and timber. I mean, you think about it. If something doesn't change, all we're going to have is a bunch of federal employees claiming to protect the earth. We got to eat. We've got to build our houses out of something. The clothes they wear, farmer, rancher, somebody made this happen. The steak you and I eat, and if you're a vegetarian, the vegetables that you love, a rancher or farmer produced that. Okay? So what do we want? We want to be healthy and happy and have jobs? Or do we want to just have federal employees that produce nothing in the name of preservation of wildlife, which we all love? It's a bunch of baloney, and people just need to wake up, or they're going to find themselves either working for the federal government or be completely out of work entirely. And we see what happens to an economy when you only have federal employees. Buying hamburgers down at McDonald's, federal employees buying hamburgers at McDonald's and buying their groceries at Safeway is not an economy. It's not a sustainable economy. You've got to use your resources. You've got to cut a tree down and cut it up into 2x4s and build houses out of it. You've got to produce meat and vegetables and wool and cotton. Okay? And you can only produce these things by utilizing resources that we've been given by our good Heavenly Father, and it's called water and land. And so without those, we have nothing. We have no pursuit of happiness. We have nothing. So that's pretty much where we're at. We're going to educate people and give them those options. Either you continue down this road you're on, or we do something about it. I mean, there's two lanes we can take here.
Nighthawk, I just got some pop-ups. Somebody's trying to hack us. Are you there? Mike, are you there?
Shut down.
Yeah,
right?
Very much so.
Okay. But so they create a wilderness act.
Correct.
Okay? We've got to preserve this land. We've got to protect it.
For the natural resources.
Yeah, but what comes with a wilderness is nothing more than more restrictions to the land users and to the public as a whole. You can't just drag your four-wheeler through a said wilderness.
No.
Okay, you've got to walk in there. You've got to ride a horse. First, you quarantine the horse for a week, and you have to prove that you've been feeding that horse for a week prior to going in there. And the feed you
will
plan
not
to
be contaminating the area with weeds.
a weed-free certified hay.
Correct.
We
have weed prevention
You can't take
committees.
anything out of there. You pick up an arrowhead. And
It's a violation of
it's a
BLM.
federal violation because what? They claim that rock, that arrowhead.
Oh, we know all about that.
I mean, if it belongs to anybody, it belongs to the Indian tribe that's still there. But, that's a whole nother discussion. But, okay, so they create all these restrictions, but at the meantime, it's costing us millions of dollars
To enact them.
they've got to patrol them now. They've got to, manage them. They say they got to hire more people. They got to create buildings.
We have to make sure the studies are completely done because it costs more millions of dollars.
Okay. But the whole time it's a violation of your rights.
True.
Because your rights to use that land supersede any of these acts that Congress puts in place. Any of them.
And the Constitution set that in place.
Exactly. And then now they're claiming not only management, but they're claiming ownership.
But they're not allowed to own anything.
But they're not allowed
That's the restrictions of the Constitution.
Yeah, they're not allowed to own these lands. So there's a lot that we're trying to teach people. I mean, they've done a very good job. The federal government has done a very good job.
I know, right?
Pushing these type of ideas to the people in the name of we're saving the animals, we're saving the environment.
We're creating new populations.
Okay, and so people buy it, but they don't understand that one, we're trying, our case is that no, usage of land by farmers and ranchers benefits the land.
True, very much so.
So that's a farce. And two, it violates your access rights, just like this place here. Do you think that anybody, until we showed up, do you think that anyone had the right to just go down here on the four-wheeler? Say, I want to look at the birds. This is public property, right?
It is, but
But
they're not allowed to.
they're made to stop right out here. They can walk through their little visiting center in the museum, and then they've got a couple of places here that you can go out there with binoculars and look. And they have a few walking paths and stuff. It restricts your access, but they do it in the name of, well, we're preserving the wildlife. We're creating an area where the birds are free and safe
and feel safe.
Their own studies there again prove quite the contrary. That birds would rather land and nest and feed
In an active field.
in an active field where there's animals or there's farming and stuff.
You get everything
The
worked
farmer
out, Mike?
irrigates it. The cattle grazes it.
The bugs feed on
Yeah.
what's left over of carcasses.
There's a diversity there that they're not going to find here on the refuge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so anyway, we just need
Mike,
to do a
is
better
everything
job
good?
improving all these things and getting them out there. It's common sense.
It is.
Because when you start talking about
Okay.
Well, but trying to get people to enact on these things, to actually step forward
Yes,
and claim.
claim and to use them and defend.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the
Their
reality
rights.
is that we're all stewards of the land. We all should have rights. Right now, everything's being taken from us. Nothing's being given. There is no such thing as representation for us, whether we're local farmers or business owners even. We are held to a federal standard so we can be taxed.
And how many times have you heard, maybe you've heard it personally, but throughout my life a lot, that the federal government had to step in managing lands because the rancher and the farmer and the land user and people in general are irresponsible and disrespectful. And if they didn't do something about it, the whole world's going to blow up. You know what I mean?
I disagree. I feel that there's a very small portion of our population that, yes, they pollute. They leave their beer bottles all over in the wildlife, step on that, cut themselves.
But does that
inside.
give the federal government reason
No,
to
absolutely
come
not.
in? Why can't our state address that issue? It's already a state law that says
Littering
is a
Violation, and it's finable.
It's finable.
If
So why
not-
do we need the federal government saying you can't litter? We already knew that. It's kind of like one of the 10 commandments.
It's a way to force control. The more control they have over us, the dumber we become. They're feeding our children what they want our children to learn, not what they need to learn in order to survive.
I mean, George Orwell had a good take on this a long time ago.
Absolutely. Our children, their information is limited. There are no economics that are being taught in an appropriate manner. My daughter doesn't even know how to cook outside of what I'm teaching her. They're teaching math and geography. Everything is askew. But what is the worst part, I think, the biggest atrocity of our children's education is the lack of information of where we came from and how far we've moved forward. How many wars have we had? She has no idea. Yeah, probably it's staying
Like you
in
said,
public school
basic,
and we'll never know.
like I said, basic economics. I mean, that is something that's not taught in school. I mean, how do you produce something? How do you make something?
They don't know, but they don't want them to know. They want them to be corporate tools.
Exactly.
They're training our children for a future behind a desk.
Yeah.
So you don't homeschool?
No, my daughter is in public school, but I subsidize her education because she's dyslexic, like me. She doesn't think the way most people do. She doesn't see.
Mm-hmm. Have you considered homeschooling her because of those
We
issues?
did do a very short stint of homeschooling this year. Every time we go rock hunting, she's learning survival skills, things that will help her in an instance of a big terrorist attack or even something as bad as an earthquake.
Yeah.
Most people's survival skills are zip.
Oh, you're one of those crazy.
Yes, I am.
You're having a lot of earthquakes here nowadays too, I know.
We have. In fact, Mount Hood has
Heaven forbid
experienced
you're
quite a few.
prepared.
Well, I was
You one of
raised
those
in the
food hoarders
military.
too.
They teach us to take care of yourself, learn, experiment.
Why do you
See
top
outside the
your
box.
car off before you head out on a trip?
Common sense tells you that if you don't, you may run out and you're gonna be walking a long way. And it's hot.
That's the simple
Or it's
concept.
cold. No, I feel like right now there's so many sideline issues that keep coming in on Facebook and the other social medias that are outweighing the actual issue that's brought everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
It's called unification. If we stand together, there is nothing in this world that we cannot accomplish. It's we the people, not we the government. The more we stand together, the more we unify and understand other people's opinions and accept them. They may not be what you agree with, but hearing it broadly.
Don't go away, you're next.
Okay.
And it unifies. Neutral ground where people
Yeah.
feel safe. They feel safe enough to say what is on their mind, whether they're afraid, whether they're supportive, whether they're not supportive. It's an environment that creates a dialogue that everybody feels comfortable opening up about. We won't unify this town until such time as everybody feels safe enough to say what's on their mind, whether it's good,
Oh,
bad,
that's
or
not going to
indifferent.
happen anytime soon.
I hope it will. I think.
Well, no. All
All
right, let me
Member, maybe.
clarify. It's not going to happen soon because people are still too afraid in there. I mean, I'm going to get out there in the next couple of days and I'm going to get some of this and I'm going to show y'all. That's the best
The
way.
other side's thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. That's the whole point is, I can show them what we're doing here
Yes.
and show you what they're saying. I can tell you what they've told me, but it might be easier if you see it.
The
Yeah.
truth is that a picture is worth a million words.
Yeah. They
People-
don't understand because they're not being they're being told,
They're being fed misinformation.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
who?
and they are afraid. They are
Well,
very afraid.
what I would-
Not of you.
No.
No,
See,
I'm
they're
serious.
not-
They have pointed that out. They are not afraid of the people up here.
More afraid of what's going on in town.
See, that was what I was going to ask.
The
Ask
restriction.
the people, if it gets out there. The people of this community have already been living in fear. I mean, you think about it. A rancher or a recreationalist is already scared that he may be in trouble if he does this or
Mhm.
goes over there.
Mhm.
There's already a level of fear before we came into town. We've come in, I think it's being made known why we're here. And so now you see a huge FBI presence
And that creates even
and
more
it creates a lot of fear. I don't believe that the people in this community fear us. In fact, I know.
I think that they fear the FBI and the federal government for having moved in and the control that it can work on this town. Because the town could very well and very easily, you all know, be in lockdown.
Well, that's
Mandatory times when you can go here and you can't go there.
A curfew.
All the restrictions that the FBI can enact for the guise of their safety. I've seen this happen.
Yeah, everything will be done in the name of safety. We're protecting you from the bad guys.
Well, what are they really protecting?
Would you
us
like to
from?
weigh in on this one? Come on in over here and tell us what you have to say. Yeah, I'm going to sit down over here in this chair too.
So what kind of propaganda do you want from me?
I want every bit of propaganda you're willing to give me.
Probably if you just ask me questions to be the
We can do that.
best way to go.
We can do that. Okay, here we go. Start with introduce yourself to everybody.
My name is Brand Thornton from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm here more as a spiritual support than anything else. But then, you know, I go wherever they can plug me in to get help out.
Are you a minister?
Yeah, I guess that's a good, accurate description. I have a shofar ministry.
Well, it actually it got brought up about an hour ago. I was wondering why they hadn't gotten services started out here yet.
Well, we really haven't been in a position to do anything like that, but we do pray, and that is everybody takes part. You know, we have different people pray at different times, and I would say Ammon and Ryan are really the instigator of that, rather than me.
So, did you know the Hammonds before all this started? Have you met them at any point? So, how did y'all hear about the Hammonds?
When Ammon put out the call, I answered the call. I was there at the Bundy Ranch when that all took place, pretty much from the day after they beat up Davy Bundy, when he was taking pictures of him still in the cattle. I was out there the next day. And I was there for 9 days and participated in that whole thing until we got the cattle back. So.
Absolutely.
I haven't actually seen the written articles of grievance. Would I be able to see that?
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
I can give you 2.
Okay.
I'm eavesdropping on y'all over there, Melissa. Just to let you know.
No secret conversations going on.
This is my copy. This is the redress.
Okay.
Articles of grievance.
I'm actually going to put this on the camera, Mike. You ready for that? Are you able to see that?
Yeah, I'm allergic.
Maybe I should move this stuff out of the way and get a little bit of light on it. Okay. I'm going to end up taking pictures of these later. We'll post them up if that's okay with you.
Sure, absolutely. We encourage it. This is what the big bugaboo is all about with the local sheriff and the judge.
Yeah, I need to find out about Judge Grasty. He seems to be quite the character.
I mean, these are very, very basic elements of our constitutional legal system that has been given to us, you know, by our founding forefathers. There's no big mysteries there. Is to get to the bottom of things and find out the truth. So.
What can you tell me about this county sheriff?
I can only give you my personal perspective of it.
Okay, so you've never met him?
I've never met him. I did carry on a bit of correspondence with him before I came down here as a spiritual and legal minister of the faith. I addressed some of his.
So I'll get some pictures of that before we're done.
Yeah, I addressed his interpretation of Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 7, which, you know, talk about honoring, sustaining the law of the land from Paul's perspective, Apostle Paul's perspective. And so I addressed that at some length. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning putting it together for him, and I emailed it to him, emailed it to the Bundys and a few other people so they could look it over. But his interpretation was not just pretty much destroyed by that, but completely destroyed by what he was, trying to say that means. So, yeah.
There's been some discussion as to whether or not he was on the original jury for the Hammonds. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. I don't believe that.
Okay.
He was appointed, from what I understand, approximately a year ago. He was not elected. He was appointed, and that's always raised some red flags because historically, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so, anytime you have somebody appointed, you really got to take a hard look at it.
Yeah, but it's not a lifetime appointment. He's going to have to get.
He comes up for re-election here in November. So hopefully he'll start doing the right thing, and he can be their sheriff. And I think this is one of the reasons that we haven't dumped all our information out there. We're giving him a chance to save face. We believe that he has been manipulated and controlled by other entities, other powerful entities. And I can understand being put in that position because more or less his life is threatened. Okay, if he doesn't play ball, and that's my perspective. But I believe that's the case. So we want to treat him with kid gloves, give him the chance to save face. Everything I've heard about him, he's a very decent person. He's very likable. And so I think he would make a great sheriff. Just give him the chance. So yeah. We don't want to embarrass him. We don't want to embarrass him. We don't want to insult him. We just want to give him the chance to honor his oath that he took. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and defend it. And we want to give him that chance. I mean, people find themselves in positions all the time, compromising positions. And they get there unknowingly and don't know what's happening until it blows up in their face, like this has, obviously. And that gives them a good feeling if they'll just look at it, what really is the truth. And again, I say, I'm not just me, but we're pretty much convinced that he is a good man, and he just needs to be given an opportunity to prove it.
Well, that is a new take on it. So that's. I'm glad you told us that because we had not heard that side. And that's why we're here, because we're not hearing everything.
Exactly. Yeah. But he's a local. He grew up with these people. He grew up here. Okay, he's well liked, and so he's got a lot of things going for him at this time. And we just got to put the capstone on his position as a sheriff. That's the way I look at it. We want to help him and get rid of the people that are controlling him, which we think the FBI is very much controlling him. And,
the FBI is driving force, huh?
Yeah, we're like 99% sure.
Really?
They have been telling him what to do, what to say, how to do it.
And they've got something to keep him in line.
Well, look at just it really is obvious. We're out here 35 miles. We are absolutely no threat. But if you go into town, they got barricaded, they got cops, law enforcement, feds running all over the place, make it look like some big, I don't know, like something right out of 1980 Orwell's 1984. And they're just fear mongering. That's what they're doing, just fear mongering. I mean, you can't go near the courthouse. You go to the FBI building, they got it all barricaded up. It's like, come on. We've invited them to come and talk to us. Come on out, Sheriff. Come on out.
Well, maybe I'll stop by and ask him why he hasn't.
Absolutely. We want him to come on out. We're very transparent here. From day one, we knew this is the people's property. And we've allowed the people to come in. We've allowed reporters to come in. We want to show that we have nothing to hide. that we're just being stewards of this property right now. We know it's not ours. We want to go home. I'd love to go home. I've been out here for 2 weeks now, you know, and but
And you're going to stay for the duration?
I will stay as long as I am. This is significant.
You feel like you've been called by God to be here?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. The way things have fallen in place, I mean, it was an interesting plan, to say the least. Yeah, and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, you know, we'll find out real fast if God is behind this or not. Because if God's not behind it, we're going down in flames real quick. And just really the first couple of days showed me absolutely that God was behind. The same thing happened at the Bundy Ranch. You could just see the hand of God in it, step by step by step by step, and really how smooth things go. And I saw that really within the first couple of days. As nerve-wracking as it is, you can, if you just take a step back, take a deep breath, you can see how these things just fall into place. And the logistics, I think there are no logistics that can make these things happen without the hand of God. I don't care how hard you try.
Okay.
It isn't going to happen without God.
Well, that's absolutely true, but you still have to get back to the government. It's still, however he's going to direct it, they're going to implement it. So what do you do about them?
Well, that's a really good point. I see down the road, I can see what's going to happen. And this is going to be an end zone to the neighboring states and eventually to the entire United States as how things are supposed to be and how you can put them back the way they're supposed to be. Because we're an oppressed nation, badly oppressed. Every part of our country, business, law enforcement, the judicial system, virtually everything you can think of is turned oppressive. And we need to pull those yokes off of us. If we can pull a yoke off this place, your neighboring counties are going to take notice. The state will take notice, and the neighboring states will take notice. And we're already heavily involved with that with cows.
Right.
Yeah. And
how about we walk outside and you show me some more of what's going on? Okay. Maybe the wind won't be so bad on the background noise. Okay, we're going to step outside, see how things are going. I know it's going to start getting dark soon. I'll end up having to quit, but
well, as you can see, here's a rig coming in now that you can see it's just chock full of donation. Okay.
Is that from locals, or are they trucking it in from?
We have an awful lot that does come in from locals. It's coming from everywhere. And more, I mean, we're seeing more and more locals, and they're very supportive.
You think they're getting over their fear?
Oh, absolutely.
Some of them, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. We've had well over 250 local ranchers come in here.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. And at first, I mean, it took a while before.
Like I said, the ones I've been talking to in town are not the ranchers.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while to reach them. The first rancher that came in here was livid. He was absolutely livid. And guess who got to talk to him first? Me. And we talked for some length right there. And, then Ammon walked up and started a conversation with him. And we brought him inside here. And I think between Ammon and Ryan and myself, I would say we spoke to him for about 2 hours. Yeah. And he was back today, by the way. He's been back multiple times. And just completely changed. He has some what they call some permits out here. He was very concerned about them, and we helped him. We alleviated his fears that he's going to be able to retain those, because whoever's working the land now, has that prior apportionment or preemptive rights. And so we want to make sure that whoever's working the land is taken care of right off the top. And that's really important. And then what we're going to do, those lands that have been stolen, that are not being worked by the people, we're doing the research, and we're going to find out who they are, and we're going to notify them that they can come back out and start working the land again.
Well, there's also the debate about whether or not it's the regular citizens of Oregon, or is it the Paiute tribe, or, you know.
Well, I don't really see any difference. Yeah, you have a Paiute tribe and you have a nation within a nation. However, if they have land out here also and they've been working the land, they're just as welcome as anybody else. Yeah. I love Native Americans, by the way.
Well, thank you, because I am one.
My great grandmother was, I believe, I think it was 100% Cree. And, you know, that sounds like way back there, but she was a very significant person in the history of this country, which I'm not even allowed to go into, and my mom would slap me silly.
I want to get another shot of the landscape out there. It's really pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country, you know.
What is that down there?
What do you point at?
Straight out.
Well, you have a pond there, and you have a Audubon bird viewing area right there. So maybe that's what you're talking about. That like little shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bird viewing area, and there's a lot of neat birds out here. By the way, I love these little quail that are running around here. That's one of my jobs, is making sure they're taken care of. I feed them every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they loose and free?
Oh yeah, they're loose and free. Dependent upon this food source here, and you know, if they're not, those feeders aren't maintained, they won't survive the winter.
Right.
So that's one of my jobs.
Well, you know what? I know Ryan's really busy, and he was gracious enough that he said I could talk to him later, but I think I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. It looks like it's just about dark.
He's really tied up now. Ryan is just going constantly. Ammon's going constantly. Right now he's visiting with some more. He's visiting with another rancher that he met down there at the kitchen. And he's been there. I went up there to grab a bite to eat real quick. He was there to talk. That is priority.
Oh, absolutely. I understand.
Is the locals and talking to them and getting the message out.
We work that way.
We want to get the message out that what we are all about. And it's all about helping and supporting the locals to get their government back, to get their lands back, and to become profitable and productive again.
Now, do you see yourself bouncing around the country doing this for other areas?
Oh yeah. That's.
Do you know of any in mind that you think might be coming up?
Well, yeah, I got this other thing. I forget what they call it. It's here somewhere, or it's not in this county. Oh, what do you call those? I can't even think of what you call it offhand. But anyhow, they want to take all this land. It's twice the size of Yellowstone National Park, and it's like a memorial to something. And there's 350 to 400 ranchers that are going to be pushed off of that. And that's
here in Oregon.
Yes, that's here in Oregon, and we've had a lot of them in also, and we have assured them that we will stop that. And I am very confident that we.
So you've already talked to them?
Oh, we've talked to quite a few of the ranchers there, and I'm very confident of it. We in the militia have gotten a lot of respect. We have a very, very strong organization, and remember, these are all former military, law enforcement. We have a lot of current law enforcement there.
Oh, careful there.
Yeah,
it's pretty slick.
We got a lot of current law enforcement who are actually involved with us. And so there's a lot of respect there. And they know that we mean business. We've proven that time and time again. I mean, we proved it at the Bundy Ranch, the Sugar Pine Mine, the White Hope Mine.
Were you at those areas?
I was not at those areas. But then in Pahrump, Nevada, I was involved with that one, and they just completely backed off. That was when Obama was going to take 1.8 million acres away from southern Nevada.
Okay.
Looks like some newbies.
Oh, there you go.
So they were going to take 1.8 million acres from southern Nevada, and I got involved with that with a handful of militia. It didn't take very much to end it. I was interviewed by Channel 8 there at the Clark County Library the day before we were supposed to go to Pahrump, and I just told them I call it 25,000 militia. Now, I exaggerate a little bit, but I am connected with them, and through the Bundy Ranch, and I said, we will defend the sovereignty of this state. And we had a couple hundred people at Pahrump, and the BLM never showed up, and they've never been back. And they're causing issues up in Elko County, I believe it is right now. And we got that on our radar, and it has to do with the miners and the mining. And so we have quite, and our organization is expanding tremendously fast.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting is during the Bundy Ranch thing, the militia in Arizona couldn't even get onto their site. It crashed. There's so many people who are trying to get involved. So,
okay, 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and close the streaming. So wave to everybody and tell them we're going to be back tomorrow. So y'all have a good night.